Next up, our last speech before we start our panels is a very good friend who I had the honor to meet a couple of weeks ago. And this person is Charley Beal, the president of the Gilbert Baker Foundation. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the great introduction. You know, I think Gilbert Baker had that dress, and I might have worn it. I don't know. Anyway, my name is Charley Beal. I'm president of the Gilbert Baker Foundation. Gilbert Baker created the LGBTQI+ rainbow flag that we all know and love. And before I get started, I'd like to just thank a few people. I'd like to thank Maria and the local team here for inviting us here from America, and for Clayton for making us part of the conference. I'd like to thank Tony Attard and Nick and everybody for welcoming us. And I'd very much like to thank everybody at the U.S. Embassy for funding our exhibit, Monique and Elizabeth and Joanna and everybody there. They've just been great. But I'm here today to talk about history and to talk about symbols. At the Gilbert Baker Foundation, we measure history in symbols, in flags. Today, the rainbow flag is one of the 8 most recognizable symbols in the world, behind the French tricolor, the American flag, the British Union Jack, the Nike swoosh, the McDonald arches. It's as big as the McDonald arches. It's known around the world. But we also, stand here in the shadow of a renewed global backlash to the progress we fought so hard to attain. And many people are afraid. Many people have been telling me they're afraid because of what's happening in their country and their homes. And you should be afraid, but I'm here to tell you and to deliver a message of hope, because we've seen this pattern before, and we've won before. We have fought back before with history, with symbols. In the 70s, following the historic riots at the Stonewall Inn, we were flush with all these feelings of liberation and victory, and people started organizing across the United States and around the world. The first nascent LGBTQI rights groups were organizing. And soon enough, by about 1977, the first backlash began. We had passed ordinances for gay rights in Miami, Florida, in Wichita, Kansas, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and one by one, those ordinances were overturned by bigots like Jerry Falwell and Anita Bryant. And things got worse. In California, a senator named John Briggs decided to get a proposition on the ballot called Prop 6, which would have banned LGBTQI teachers in all of the public schools of California. And he was going around telling the same lies about calling that these teachers would be groomers and that they were going to corrupt our children. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? Because we're hearing the same lies today. Luckily, a politician named Harvey Milk, the man who asked Gilbert Baker to create the rainbow flag, he stood up, and with Sally Gerhardt, he went all up and down the state of California, town hall, meetings after meetings, to try to rally support against Prop 6. And he and Sally actually went into the heart of the beast. They went into Orange County, California, the home of John Briggs, and they debated him on stage, on television, and with searing logic and with humor, they uncovered and defeated every one of his lies. The vote came up. The polls were saying that we were going to lose, but somehow we pulled it off. Prop 6 was defeated. Backlash, victory, history, symbols. In the 80s, it happened again with AIDS. Our whole neighborhoods and our whole communities were devastated by this pandemic. And, politicians, right-wing politicians, moderate politicians, allies stood silent while people died. But did we give up? No. In the United States, people like Larry Kramer and Cleve Jones and Ann Northrup, but they organized and formed the Names Project and ACT UP, and they fought back until we got medicine so we could live. Another backlash, another victory. In 2004, in the United States, 11 states passed initiatives banning gay marriage. Did we lie down and take it? No, we organized, because people like Evan Wolfson, People like Kathy Marino-Thomas, who was here in the room. Kathy, stand up. I gotta tell you, she was one of the co-chairs of marriage equality in the United States. They organized and fought for gay marriage. They created a common language that we could speak not just to each other, but to our allies and even to our enemies. A common language wherein we could make our case. And in 2015, when that decision of the Supreme Court came down, legalizing gay marriage in the United States, it was a breathtaking victory. It was a triumph over centuries of homophobic expression. I was with Gilbert Baker that night in 2015 as we watched the White House light up in rainbow colors, and then the Empire State Building, and then the Eiffel Tower, and the Sydney Opera House, and even the mighty Niagara Falls. They were all emblazoned with these colors of hope. History marked by symbols. But as dawn broke the next day and the colors of the rainbow faded in the sun, Gilbert and myself and other activists, we started talking about, when is the backlash going to come? You know, we could have relaxed, hey, let's party, let's just keep celebrating. But we knew that it would come, and it did. Victory, backlash, history, symbols. We measure history and symbols. In 2019, Moses and Bazira organized the first Pride March in the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. There's over 200,000 refugees there. 50 brave people with a few rainbow flags marched about a kilometer until they were set upon, beaten, their flags were taken and torn and destroyed. In 2021, Alireza Monferrat, a young Iranian man, was kidnapped by his family and beheaded in an honor killing. An honor killing. And what was his crime? He told his family he was gay. But you know what his friends did? They got rainbow flags and they wrapped them around themselves and they darted in and out of the streets of Tehran to protest his death. In China, just a few years ago, they shut down all the queer NGOs. And this last spring, they shut down all the gay community centers. And this summer, 2 lesbians were having a picnic in Shanghai and they were arrested for having a rainbow flag. And we're seeing it in Ukraine, where Vladimir Putin, you know, has kind of based part of his war on wiping out gay rights in Ukraine. He's promised to wipe the rainbow flag off the face of the earth. And this past August, something that hit us really hard, in California, a woman, Lori Ann Carlton, was murdered for hanging a rainbow flag on the front of her gift shop. This was a straight woman with 9 kids, an ally, killed for having a rainbow flag. You know, business owners and residents across America who own Pride flag responded to that news by raising their flags. I have to read this. Krista Caven in Providence Village, Texas. She decorates her front yard with rainbow flags because she has LGBTQI kids. And she said to a reporter, "What message would I be sending to my children if I stopped?" She added, "It does scare me some, but not enough to stop me what I'm doing. Mama Bear is always going to fight for her children." So this new backlash against our rights is upon us, and we measure it in flags. In the United States, radical religious extremists are organizing and infiltrating local school boards and infiltrating state governments, town councils. They're banning books. They're banning trans health care for trans youth. They're banning LGBTQI-friendly curriculum. And they are obsessed with banning the display of rainbow flags on government property. They've already passed bans in over 40 cities and towns across the country. Well, in response, my organization, founded on the work of Gilbert Baker, we decided to push back, and we created the Save the Rainbow Flag initiative. We partnered with the American Civil Liberties Union to create a legal framework and a toolkit allowing local activists to fight back against these bans, and we have had victories. We've had victories in California, and in New Jersey, and in Baltimore, and in Florida. We beat DeSantis. Yeah, we did. And so there will be more victories, and there will be more backlashes. So everyone here today, you need to know this. We can fight back. We can learn from our history. We can learn from tactics that worked back in the 70s, and we can create new tactics using digital media, using social media, and we can protest in the streets so they can see our power, our fury, our numbers. The Gilbert Baker Foundation, we achieve our life-saving work by carrying forward his message of hope. It's a message of hope he sewed into every rainbow flag that he made for over 40 years. And it's a message of hope that we're pouring into our hearts and our souls into the rainbow flag this week in Valletta. So hope is the message I hope you carry back home. Show the world your pride and defiance. Show them that you will not be silenced. Show them that you will not be lied to, that you won't be bullied, and show them you will never retreat back into the closet by flying your rainbow flag. Our colors will prevail. We make history with symbols, the greatest symbol of hope and diversity ever created, the rainbow flag. Thank you.